Welcome to our Thursday night class. Tonight we're going to talk about using the Embrilliance Stitch Artist in order to create a decorative door hanger. The source for this project is from the Baby Locks Mastering IQ Designer project and instruction book. And that is a class for the IQ designer, and we're actually going to be doing this in the next lesson, and I have it going in that class. But we want to know how to do this with Embrilliance or something very similar. It's not going to be exact, but it's fairly similar. If you have that book and you're following along, I'm going from pages 156 to 162. Okay, so we want to create the same thing. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I am going to go ahead and pick my hoop, and I'm going to, the instruction says they're going to make it for the, 12 by 18 inches or 16 inches. That thing's kind of big, or 10 by 16 inches. I don't need a door hanger that big. I'm going to instead use the 130 by or 180 by 300, which is the 7 by 12 embroidery hoop, that's still a really large design. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to use this one. So we're going to start by making a master shape file. So what shapes do I want? Well, I want to use a shield, and if you look at the picture, it's going to be a shield. So I'll use Creator Level 1 because this can be done in Creator Level 1. I'm going to pick my merge designs up at the top, and I'm going to pick my outlines. And there's a couple shapes that I want. I want the shield, this one, and I'm going to need an oval. So I can select them both at the same time and hit OK. First thing I need to do is make this so that it'll fit in the hoop. And what I'll do is I'll use my Embrilliance Essentials here to select it. And now I have a fit to hoop button right here in the center, upper left-hand corner. The oval in the center is a little too big, and I don't really care for that too much. I want to make this a little smaller. It's kind of big. I probably want to make this center maybe 4.5 inches wide. That looks fine. All right, so now that's my master shape. Okay, now there's a couple things I need to do. We're going to be filling this outer part of the frame with some kind of decorative fill. Okay, I need a piece that has these combined. So I'm going to select these in the object bar. So I have them both highlighted. I'm coming up here to the upper left, and I'm going to copy and paste. Okay. And so therefore those are already selected. So I'm going to come up to the create button under outline. I want to have here that says combine for whole. So it's my create menu, the outline drop down menu, and then I come over to combine the holes, and you will see in the object bar the 3 basic shapes that I need to use throughout the whole design. I'm going to leave the shape one alone, and you can save this if you like, but so I'm going to go and create a new design. And again, let's make sure that that hoop is the right size. It isn't. Okay. Need to first create the placement or the tack downs, the placement and the tack down stitch for this outer piece of the shield. So I'm going to come back to my master shapes, and I'm going to come over here and pick out that shield shape, and I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come over to the new file and paste it. So now I see it there. I'm going to save this one as working file. So I'm just going to know it's right now called Untitled 13. But when I save it, I'll give it the proper name. So, okay, so this one I know I need it to do a placement and a tack down. And then paste this again twice. So the first one I'm going to turn into a run stitch, which is this one right here in my stitch properties. I'm going to leave it at the default of 2.5 millimeters. That's fine. And I will change its color to applique position. The second one, I want to change this one also to a run stitch, but I think I want it to be at least a double run, and might make that stitch 2.2, just a little smaller so that it doesn't come apart. And then I'm going to change its color to applique material, so it's a different color. So now we've got this piece going. Okay, so the next thing says to do is for decorative stitch, we want to create 2 different decorative fills for this inside. But you know what? I don't need the decorative fill to fill this whole thing. Could I? Yes. I could just fill it with the whole thing. But that's just extra long stitching that I don't need to do. So I'm going to come over to my shapes, my master shapes, which is number 12. I'm going to pick the one that's combined line, copy it. I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to paste that as well. Same shape, because now I need to change the hoop. Okay. And yeah, that way if I mess it up, then I'm not undoing the work I've already done. Okay, so now we need to put in a motif fill. We want it to resemble something that looks like quilting. I'm going to pick the shape. Now I want to put a motif fill inside of here. Okay, so some kind of decorative fill in the middle with the Solaris, the Luminaire, the Destiny, and the Dream Machine. It's built into the IQ Designer, has some lovely background fills that make excellent quilting. But I don't have that here. So I'm going to go to my motif fill here. I've picked the shape, it's selected. I'm going to pick a motif fill. So it comes out as lines until you pick a fill. Hit the plus button, and you've got different categories. You've got cross stitches. I want to find something kind of round. That's a cross stitch. That didn't really do anything. This one's hearts. No, I don't really want to cross stitch. Decorative fills, these are all kind of thick, so there's not really anything quilty looking in there. Okay, knots, yeah, that's candle wicks and stuff, and there's nothing quilty looking in there. Larger, this larger too looks good, so if I pick that one and wait a couple seconds, I don't like it, it's too big. Let's make it bigger. Okay, and let's make this bigger. Okay, this has possibilities, but I don't like that spike. And if I make that side, the width bigger and the gap bigger, yeah, it looks, no, I don't like that. Now, can I change this? No. I would like to change this, but you would need Creator 3 in order to make a different background fill that looks more quilting, and I'm not going to teach you today, mostly because I need to learn it a little bit better so I can make my own decorative fills, but I'm not there yet. So we're not going to use this one, so I'm going to remove it. Let's pick, see this one. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, and again, bigger and bigger. And the gap, make the gap a little bit. Okay, so that's, yeah, kind of interesting. But there's some, I'm not going to use this one, but I want to show you some interesting things that you can do with these background fills. See this bar going across the center? It's yellow on the other end. I can change the angles of things. That makes an interesting stitch. Okay, let's pick a different one. Other ones we have here, you have satinish ones. These would none of these would work. They're too much too much zigzagging, satin-ish, which is still bit too big. And squared has some interesting Greek keys and stuff, but you know, it's okay. I want to go to these larger ones. And let's pick, ooh, there's an interesting one. See what that does. I need to make this larger. Okay, I'm going to make everything larger to the biggest it can go. And yes, that looks interesting. Same thing with the gap. Let me pull the gap up. Gap is how far apart they are. Well, that's kind of interesting. And see, I can change this angle and have it look so completely different. I want to remove this one, and I'm going to put these lines back. I'm going to pick Motif. Actually, the one that worked the best was this number 12, larger 12. That worked pretty good. I want to make everything bigger, the gaps, the width, the length, and then the width. I'll make them all bigger. I want a gap bigger. Oh, the density. I didn't change the density. There we go. That looks awfully rounded. I do like the way that looks. Okay, so that's nice and quilty. Okay, so I'm going to pick that one. Okay. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. So I copy and paste. So now I have two. I'm going to turn this one into blue so that we can see the difference. I'm going to stitch them the same color, but I'm going to switch this to a different, to say blue. Okay. And I'm going to go back into that stitch. And when I have it selected, see, I have these flip keys. I'm going to flip one. Okay. And then now that looks really interesting. I like the way that looks. That looks fabulous. So once I have one that I'm happy with, and this does the decorative, both sets of the decorative fill stitches. So I'm going to copy, come over to my working file and paste it. Okay, that looks awesome. I like the way that looks a lot. Okay, so, and I could change these back to the same color if I want them to be the same. I'm going to leave them different colors. Okay, I'm going to go back over to where we were playing with these working files because I want to, I'm going to take one away. Take this one away. And so this one, if I were to add a different one, or let's add the same one, I'm going to add larger number 12 again. And now, okay, we'll take a couple minutes. And you can see it's already put something odd in there. And I want to change this to maybe a little smaller. A little narrower. And upside down. Nope, put it back up. I don't like the way that looked. I want a little less of a gap. So what it does, well, no, I'm gonna leave it large too. Everything large like before. Okay, it's the same stitch. Can't tell the difference. They look the same, but the second one, I want to invert it. And so now I've got a whole different type of shape, something completely different. Because what it's done is it is alternated the top one with the bottom one, and so it gave me that little pretzel looking thing. You can literally spend hours and hours and hours playing with these motif stitches. Now, can you make your own motif stitches? Yes, but you would need Creator 3 in order to do that. Now that I've got everything ready, I can go ahead and just delete this because I don't need that anymore. Here's my working file. All right, so now what we need to do is I need to do an applique to fill this center section. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my master shapes. And I'm going to take the center one and copy. Going to copy it, go to my working file, and paste it. So now I have another one. It's at the very bottom. It'll stitch after all that stuff. So now I need to make essentially an applique in the center. So I have this one. I need to paste it again. So I need at least, probably I need a total of 3 of these. One positioning, one tack down, and one with the satin stitch or the sealing stitch. One, I want to make that into a run stitch. That's just fine. So a double run is, or I'll do a single run because it's just positioning, and okay. Okay, the second one, I want to do a run also, but I want that to be a double run, and that's a good one to use. And the third one, I want this now to be a motif run. So that we had, these were fills down here. Up here above that is a motif run. And this time I get something very similar to what I saw before. I have nothing in it right now. So I'm going to hit apply plus, and I want a candle wick. I know I had some candle wicks, knots, okay. And I used a candle wick. Candle wick 1 is fine and okay. No, I don't like that way it looks, so I need to change the length. I need the width and the length, so I need it to be, height is say 4.5. I want it to be bigger, at least the size of a 4 point. Sometimes it's easier just to type it in. You can type it in 4.5. My width 4.5. And take a, oh no, sometimes I don't like how that looks. See, I have a gap here. Don't like that gap. I'm going to put a little tiny gap. Okay, you keep maybe a half, and let's change the height a little. No, I see how I'm still getting a gap, so I'm gonna have to keep playing around. And I found with Creator 1 or Stitch Artist 1, I was playing around with this and I was getting very frustrated because I kept making it worse. Then I discovered if I went to Creator 2, I have another fill which is now called French knots. Okay, and French knots, I have either choice of candle wick or French knot. I'll take candle wick. And then if I made it the same size before, I didn't have that problem. Ending size 4.5 and no gap. And no gap. Okay, so I like that. Not a problem. Now, could I do that with the Creator 1 or Stitch Artist 1? Yes, but it's going to take some playing around, and you keep changing all those little slider bars until you don't see any gaps anymore. And I just got irritated with it. Can you do it? Yes. It's probably a good idea to try it because then you'll appreciate too if you ever have it. Okay. Now, okay, so we have the outside stitching. We have the inner decorative stitch 1, inner decorative stitch 2, and the candle wicking around the edge of the oval. Okay, now we have got to do the letter. Okay, so I'm going to stay in this working file, and I have letters built in. And that's where I'm going to check and see what they look like first. So I'm going to do an F, or we could do whatever letter, a capital F. And let's see what they look like here. I want something with curly cues. See what that looks like. No, I don't like that one. And to be honest with you, I didn't. What about that one? That's too slanty. Move the slant the other way. And yeah, nah, I don't like that after all. So I'm gonna delete that one. Because what I want to show you is how to do this in True Type fonts. So in Creator, and Creator 1 is just fine. Back to 1. You have True Type TT, which is True Type fonts. So I'm going to pick my True Type font. I'm going to put in the letter that I want to use, which is, I'm going to capital F. And you have a whole, and here I put in the F, and I can, these are picking up the True Type fonts that are resident in my computer, and I can look and see what I like. And some I like, some I don't. Let's see, so I can slowly, these are all gothic-y looking. I want something scripty. Sort of like in the book. What's Blackadder look like? This is not a good one to use because there's too many nodes. Okay, so I want an F. I played with about 20 of these until I got one that I liked. Blackadder's the one. I think that's the one I just used. No. I ended up picking French script. French, and I almost missed this one because it's very hard to see it. Okay, and okay. And it looks really tiny. But I'm going to make it bigger. And see, that's got a much more pleasing look to it. We'll put it in the middle. And I'm going to go back to my essentials because I don't have much patience with figuring things out. So I'm going to make it about 2 inches wide. And about, I'll make it a little higher. Yeah, I like that. Okay, it's an outline. There's nothing there. So I'm going to just take that and I'm going to go to my essentials and I'm going to make sure it's in the center of the hoop, and it is. Okay, so now let's just see. I'm just going to go back to Creator and I'm just going to pick the satin border. No, I don't. It's not the one I want. I want the one below, satin column. Okay. Okay. There. All right. That looks fine. And I think I like the way that looks, so I'm ready to leave that. All right, now we've got our letter. The next thing we need to do is we need to slap a really heavy backing on there. And I think I used like a heavy weight of a deco bond on the back along with a fabric on the back. So I need to tack those down. So I'm going to go back to my main shape. I want to take that outline of the frame and copy and paste it to the working file. Okay, and I think I need 2 of these. So I'm going to paste it again. Okay, so this is now my placement line. Oh, I may need 1 more. So I have 3. So I want a placement and a tack down. The reason I did is because when I tried to cut, I had to do it all at one time. And when I went to trim away the backing, when I was trying to trim it with the deco bond behind it or some kind of batting or something, it was hard to trim. It's easier to trim twice. So I just ran them both twice. So here's one, and I want to make that a line, just a run, and a single run is fine. And a 2.5. Okay. And that one, I want to make that a applique placement. Okay. This one, I'm going to do a double run. And leave it a double run, and that short stitch is fine. And change its color to applique material. Okay. And then I have, now I want to do some more things. I want a nice big outline. Okay, so I'm going to go to satin stitch, which is the satin border. I'm going to leave it red I want it nice and wide, maybe 4.5 wide. Real wide. You can even make it 5, or 4.5 is okay. Okay, pattern, I'm just gonna leave that at the default. The density, I'll leave at the default. I'm going to make sure, okay, that's good. I had all 3 of the underlayments turned on because I want that to be nice and thick on either side. I could make it freestanding, but that makes it way too thick. I found that was way too thick. And over here, now I also wanted to put that really fancy top stitch right down the middle. So I'm going to put top stitch. So that's done. Okay, the last thing to do is our buttonholes. So we don't have a buttonhole hot button like we do in our machines, but we have a shape here. So I have this shape. I want to do a rectangle. I want to come in kind of close and come up. That's a little too close. Okay, I want to see the top. Okay, so now I want to draw. This is on inches, so each of these grids is about an inch, is about 1/4 of an inch. So I want to draw a box about an inch. 1, 2, 3, I can move it. Maybe less than an inch, about 3. I don't know, how wide is my ribbon's about an inch. And that's way too wide, but that's okay. I'm going to position this where I want it to go. I don't need it to be 4. I want it to be little. I want it to be maybe 2 millimeters wide. And I don't need all these underlayment things, although I'll just leave them for now. Okay, now do I like how that looks? Yeah, it does. I like that. So then I can copy, paste, move one over. Okay, I'm just gonna space them. Now, they're not even, and one quick way to make them even. Have them both selected, and what I did is I selected one, hit my control key, and clicked on another one. Then in our essentials, we have align and distribute. So I click that. They're already aligned vertically where I want them, but I want them to match up at the top on both sides. So I click that. Let me move this out of the way so you can see. And I hit apply, and now they're even, and I can push both of them together. It automatically groups them. And so I can move it up or down as I need to, but I think it's fine like that. But I see I can move it up or down. Okay, those are my buttonholes. Those are fine. And actually, now it's done, and it's ready to stitch out. So okay, here it is all finished. I've taken the design out of the hoop, and I've go ahead and removed the tearaway stabilizer. I used a tearaway, not a firm. If you have a tearaway firm, it tears fairly cleanly. If you use, this is a rinse away tearaway, which has rayon fibers, and so you can see a hint of a little bit of white fiber along the edge. And if you use a regular cutaway, then you just have to cut it away. But you know what? This is a red magic marker, and you know what? That's just fine to touch up the edges there, and it looks it's just perfect now. Now, if you'd used a wash away, then all you have to do is take a wet Q-tip and go along the edges, and it'll dissolve any remainder of the tearaway of the wash away stabilizer. But this turned out really cute. So next thing, I just cut open my buttonholes just like you would any buttonhole. And okay, I have just simply strung my ribbon through the buttonholes, 1-inch ribbon, and this is going to look really cute on my door for the 4th of July. So I hope you like this project. If you have any questions, send me an email at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to answer them. If you have Embrilliance software, go ahead and try this. Let me know how it turns out. Send me a picture. I'd love to see it. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Until next week, I'll see you later. Bye.